Why don't our manifestations work? I'm going to give you some metaphors today to help you understand why sometimes our manifestations don't work. Hi, my name is Leah Chantel, and today I'm going to give you some examples of different types of manifestations and why they don't work. So I put manifestation actually into three metaphors or three categories, depending on the level that you're trying to achieve. And this doesn't mean that any manifestation is more important than another one. It just means that it's a little bit more complex to manifest. But even a lower level manifestation can be very, very important. And I'll give you an example of one. And that is working on your physical body and getting very good physical health. Actually, this I consider a low level manifestation, although it's very important and everybody should learn to master it on their own time and on their own methods. But the reason why it's a low level manifestation is because there are many roads to Rome when it comes to fitness. You can do so many different activities, you can do so many diets, that in a sense it's actually kind of a simple manifestation because you just need to pick one and really commit to it. And then if something goes wrong and it doesn't resonate with you for some reason, actually, you can swap one method out for another. Let's say, for example, you try working out a very specific way, like you're going to run marathons and that's the way you're going to lose weight, or that's the way you're going to be healthy. Let's say you go with that strategy to have a healthy body. The interesting thing about that is you may start running and you might realize that maybe it's not the right strategy for you. Maybe you don't feel committed to it anymore, it doesn't resonate with you and you want to change it. It's actually okay to change your strategy and swap one activity out for another. You could decide you want to play basketball instead, or you want to go play soccer. The challenge is you just got to commit to whatever you swap it out for. But it is kind of a flexible manifestation, and that's why I consider it kind of a simpler one, because there are so many different approaches that you can take, and you just got to pick the one that really resonates with you and commit to it. But the problem is people don't really find out what resonates with them in terms of their health. They don't prioritize it. They prioritize other things in their life more highly, and so they never figure it out. And that's a real shame, because fitness can be something that really enhances our health and even our lives and our sense of hobbies and growth as a human being. And so it's worthwhile to figure it out. Figure out which sport really resonates with you, or maybe it's yoga, or maybe you like doing acrobatics, or whatever it is. Figure out the thing that just lights you up and gets you excited to work out and gives you an identity of someone really cool. Like maybe you enjoy some kind of acrobatic performing and the thought of showing people your skills really lights you up. That is a good example, and you may want to try that if that's what you're truly passionate about. Or maybe if you're a gentleman, you prefer something like playing football and being really strong and throwing the ball really hard or something. Whatever it is that lights you up and gives you an identity that really is juicy for you, like you really want to go do that, that's the one you should pick in order to help you achieve that goal of working on your physical fitness. And thankfully that one, there are many, many different approaches you can take. And so it's not a one size fits all. So I consider that metaphor kind of like a stew. So manifestations that are a little bit more flexible, a little bit more easy to do with many different roads to Rome are kind of like a stew, because stews have many different ingredients in them and you can kind of change them and change the flavor and create your own unique tasting stew. And then you can make the stew in different ways each time because it's a flexible recipe. And so those kinds of manifestations are probably the easiest to attain in some ways, because you can, as long as you're committed, you just find different tactics and you keep going through different things until you figure out the ones that really work well for you, that are going to help you achieve the goal. Now here's the next level of manifestation that's a bit more challenging. Let's say, for example, you want to have your own TV show. This level of manifestation is a little bit more challenging, and I would consider that like the analogy of baking a cake. So when you bake a cake, you're measuring the ingredients. They have to be fresh, they have to be the correct amounts, they have to be baked at a certain temperature and for a certain amount of time, and you have to get all of those details right. And when you're trying to manifest something big in your life, like trying to get your own TV show, for example, you have to do things a certain way and you have to do them correctly in order to get the TV show. Now, does that mean there's no flexibility? I mean, there may be some flexibility because there are different styles of baking and there are different recipes, but you sort of have to find the path you're going to stick to and commit to it and really be disciplined and keep to that path in order to get your goal. It doesn't mean you can't change at all, but it means you have to be a little bit more persistent to go after that goal and detail oriented. So if it's not manifesting for some reason and it's a really big goal like that, you have to go over all the things you've been working at and figure out which piece is missing in that cake recipe. Maybe you're working really hard at contacting executives in Hollywood and building relationships for them, for example, but you haven't worked on your public speaking skills in order to be able to speak in front of the camera. Or maybe it's the opposite. Maybe you're very good on camera, but you don't know anybody in entertainment who can help you get a TV show. You have to look at all the different ingredients and all the different steps in your process to make sure you're doing things correctly and you're giving them enough time and energy in order for you to achieve that manifestation or achieve that goal. And it's a bit more complex than just trying to work on your physical fitness. Although physical fitness, as much as it is a more simple goal in a lot of ways, it's actually a very critical goal, and that should be one that everybody works on. Because when you feel strong and powerful in your body, you feel strong and powerful in your life. So your physical fitness is a great foundation to help you achieve anything else you're trying to achieve in your life. And now I'm going to go to the third level of manifestation. I don't think people realize, but when you're trying to create something, that project is actually like a living being. It's kind of like a baby. And so if you get really negative or really down on your project, it's kind of like you criticizing your baby. Like, you would never do that, right? As a mom or a dad, like, you know, even if you did do that, you know it's not right to do that, right? You're not supposed to criticize children. Like, maybe you discipline them and you tell them no, like you can't do something, right? But that's different from being like, you're a bad baby, you know, you wouldn't do that. And so you have to consider your manifestation like a living being, and you have to put love into it. You have to find ways to guide that manifestation too in the right direction. Maybe the manifestation is going the wrong way and you have to kind of redirect the sail and redirect it into the direction that you want it to go. And it could be very tough work. Maybe that means sacrificing a bit of sleep or working harder or really paying attention to something that you really don't want to do because you're scared of rejection. Maybe you have to put yourself out there in front of other people and you're scared that they're going to criticize you. These things are scary, but that's part of the process of bringing a manifestation to life and bringing something into the world. Like if you had a child and you were scared that if they walked into the street, they would get hit by a car because they were very small and just learning to become street smart, you would go with them the first time around to make sure that they're crossing the street safely, right? And so you have to sometimes do things that you don't really feel like doing in order to achieve your very, very high level goals. And the highest level goals might be like long-term relationships, like a marriage or a very long-term friendship or business partnership. Those are probably tougher than even things like getting a TV show, I would argue, because a lot of relationships are breaking down these days. A lot of parents get estranged from their children. And so you want to treat your manifestation almost like you would treat a child. You want to make sure that you're basically raising it correctly and bringing it into the world correctly with a lot of love and a lot of empathy and making sure that whatever you're trying to manifest serves the world. If you're manifesting something that only serves you, it's less likely to happen because it's not really taking care of the world or adding anything to the world. Like as a species, as humanity, we really rally around people who are bringing something to the table, who are being of service to others. If we kind of get a whiff that somebody's just trying to do something in order to promote themselves or because they're in it for their own profit, then we're not as excited to share their message. We're not as excited in supporting them. And so whatever you want to do, you should be supporting other human beings and supporting humanity in that effort of doing it. And then it's much more likely to come about in a positive way. I hope you enjoyed some of these analogies that I gave about different ways to manifest and different levels of manifestation. If you want to comment and explain any analogy that fits for you when you're trying to manifest something new in your life, definitely comment below. I'd be really curious to see what you say about that. And definitely hit like if you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to hit subscribe. I can't wait to talk to you again soon. Bye everyone.